Today I'm going to be painting this little simple abstract landscape painting on an iPad with Procreate, and I will not be using any brushes here. I'm just using the select tool in Procreate and with freehand selected and the color fill little bucket, and choosing a color I can make these big shapes quickly and with nice sharp edges, and it helps to be quicker when I'm making these landscapes up. There's no reference here. I'm just making that up as I go along. So really what I'm trying to do is just play around with some shapes. And that tool is really good for that because, like I said, you can make big shapes quickly. If you have to paint them in with brushes, it's not so quick, and then you kind of lose the flow of trying to come up with things and shapes from your imagination, or I do at least anyway. So on each layer I make a really big shape. I try to keep the shapes big, especially early on, and then they'll get smaller in detail throughout the painting. But basically I don't really know how this is going to turn out, and I don't really have any preconceived ideas of what I'm doing. I just really want so I have decided a few things, like I want some mountains, I want some trees, a path, some hills, but other than that I kind of just see how it goes and just let it happen. I like to do these from time to time because it's just more fun. There's no pressure on it looking amazing or anything. That's really difficult to do without the reference anyway, because you can't really draw complex things without the reference. So I find these more fun. They don't take very long. I've only cut out little bits where I'm not doing anything. So I think the whole video is like 26 minutes or something. And that's me taking a break for a drink or whatever. So these are supposed to be quick. I think if they go on too long, you start fiddling around and put in lots of detail in that don't really help. It's got quite a lot of detail, towards the end anyway, and usually it doesn't really make things better, but again, just because these are for fun anyway, I'm not too critical what it really looks like at the end. As long as I enjoyed my 26 minutes or whatever it was, then I'm quite happy, and I'll just do another one. So I'm still pretty much doing the same process for quite a while, and that is to get an underlying shape in for everything. So the trees now I'm working on, but it's still the same concept. I create a new layer every time and then put the shape. So I'm onto so I've got enough shapes in. I will probably add some more shapes now, but I've got enough in that I start to highlight. Now using that tool again, I have a new layer above the big shape, and I turn on something called clip and mask, which means I can be as messy as I want, but it will conform to the layer underneath. So create a new layer, click on it, and then turn on clip and mask, and I use this pretty much everywhere for highlights. So I've decided the sun is gonna come from the top right. I do that based on generally where my big highlights are gonna go and how much space I have to put them. So if I had so you can see the mountains towards the left, so it kind of makes sense that that big peak is going to be highlighted. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I'm sure it'll work the other way around too. But that's generally how I go. I want the biggest highlights to stand out, so you need the biggest shape. So one thing I need to be careful of, which I've made mistakes many times in the past, is trying to keep the light consistent. I've definitely put the highlights on the wrong side before and not even noticed, which is a bit crazy, but it happens. And so throughout the painting I keep on double checking where I've put the sun. So one thing to be wary of when you're doing the highlights, you also kind of need the highlights in the shadow section. For many years I left the shadow sections blank, and I always wondered why it looked a bit funny. So you need detail in the shadow sections. So think of them as kind of just highlights, but they're obviously a lot darker than the highlights on where the sun's hitting it. But they're still there. They're just a lot darker. So I'm putting in some more highlights. So usually I do like 2 or 3 layers on top of the underlying blocky shape, and sometimes just one. So I'm putting, a suggestion of some snow, but nothing too crazy. You need to be a little bit careful with snow because it's so bright that it can overpower everything, and all you can see is the snow. So less is more for that. So I'm messing around with the sky here, and I put 3 colors into the sky. I got the background, a lighter bit down the bottom, and then the middle band. So I got 3 bands. I go to adjustments, and then I use Gaussian blur and put it about halfway, and you get this nice gradient sky without really too much effort. I use that trick pretty much all the time. And with this style, I like to do big clouds because they break up the sky quite nicely. Clouds can be quite hard to paint, so in this style I don't really go too crazy. And you see there that I clicked on the layer of this shadow part of the clouds, and I turned on alpha lock, which is similar to clip and mask, but when you paint, you're painting on the same layer. So clip and mask, you have 2 layers. With alpha lock, you only have 1. Just play around with them. They both do pretty similar things, so don't worry if you actually get the wrong one. So again, the important part here for the highlights is the direction of where I put the highlights. So as long as I keep them all to the right, we're good. But that doesn't mean you can't put them on the left. It just has to mean they're facing the right. Now with this style, you don't have to be too crazy. As long as it's pointing in the right direction, you're pretty good. So now I'm putting in some pine trees right at the back. I've actually done them on the wrong layer, although it's fine there probably. So I'll move the layer back, and I'll adjust them now because they're not dark enough. So if you go to the adjustments and you turn on hue, saturation and brightness, you can play around with the colors. And in this style, if you put everything on the layer, you can use that adjustment tool quite a lot to play around with the colors. Sometimes I get to the end of the paintings like this and I don't like the color scheme I picked, and then I'll go through all the layers, changing everything until I like it, which is quite time consuming, but sometimes the color scheme just doesn't work. And usually my color scheme is fairly random. It just depends on what mood I'm in generally, and so there's no exact science about that. So this big field at the back, I wasn't sure what to do with it, but I don't like big spaces of blank colors. So, and I didn't really want to put anything in it, so I decided to break it up and kind of show that there may be fields there. And what I'm doing is just making some big shapes again, but varying the colors only slightly. You're going to be very careful not to go too crazy there because it all has to relate to each other. So even if it's a really orange field, it can't be that orange because it's in the distance. But I think it worked out okay. I'll put a little bit more detail later, but I think it worked okay. So I'm back up the front now, and I'm working on this path. And I don't do too much to this path because I'm going to fill it with rocks anyway. But I'm putting a big highlight on. Now when I draw this highlight, I'm using whatever color really. So I've just picked something. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to change it now because it has to conform to the color underneath. So I'll use that alpha lock again, and then I'll change the color of this highlight section to match what's underneath it. So when the highlight hits the grass, it's going to go yellow, and when it hits the dirt, it's going to be similar to that. So I could probably leave that one, but you could shift it a little bit to orange or something. So highlights in real life, if you want to go realistic, are not sharp like that. They are smooth, and I have smooth edges. So you'd probably be tempted to do that, and you can. But because this style is kind of graphic-y, I did try to make them a bit softer, and I have done it before. It does work, but you have to be a bit careful, and the smoothing has to be really good, or it looks a bit weird. So I decided just to leave them sharp, and because it's consistently sharp everywhere, it kind of works. Now, if you start smoothing things, we have the sky smooth, but that's kind of just like in the background. So if you're going to start smoothing things, it starts to get a little bit tricky then, because you've introduced a kind of a different style. Like I said, I have done it before and it does work. These paintings take me quite a lot longer if I start smoothing things, because the smoothing out is a little bit, well, not time consuming, but it takes a little bit longer. And sometimes it doesn't work, so if I go too smooth, it can look a bit strange. And you have to be just a little bit more careful. And using the Gaussian blur helps as well, if you want to try that. So like I said earlier, I wasn't too worried about this path, because I'm going to fill it with rocks. I always like doing rocks, so I use them pretty much everywhere. But it's the same concept. I'm using the select tool, freehand color fill, exactly the same. I picked a darkish grey for these rocks. Yeah, you could vary the rocks if you wanted to. They don't have to be all the same color. They don't have to be all grey either. So again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm turning alpha lock on this time. I'm color picking a highlight that I want the rocks to be and playing around, checking the colors. And I'm not too concerned because you can use the adjustments again to change them later. But I'm fairly happy with that color anyway. So one thing to be careful about with rocks is that you leave enough shadow in. If you over highlight them, they can look a bit weird. So sometimes leave big spaces of dark. Now you could put those highlights I was talking about earlier into the shadow side of the rocks, but they're very small, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Yeah, you can do it though, but they're not very big, so you don't have to go over too crazy with the details. But one thing I do need to do is these rocks are floating and they'll need a shadow. So the shadow I did earlier for the trees, I'm reusing that layer, and just simply with black. But that layer has the opacity turned down, so you can see underneath only slightly. And so without putting shadows under the rocks, they look like they're just floating in the sky, and they look a bit weird. So to ground them, just put these little shadows underneath. Now they look like they're on the floor. Now another way to make rocks look better is to add foliage around them, because it's quite rare you have rocks just sitting there with nothing. They'll either have little pebbles in there, or gravel, or dirt, or little weeds and things. So I've decided to do little bits of grass here and there, which is generally what I do anyway. And one thing good about doing these kind of little overlaps is it creates some more depth, because you can tell now that we have some weeds or grass or whatever, and then we have the rocks, and then we have more rocks, and so on. So the more overlap you have in a landscape painting, the more depth you have. And I've got a little bit going on, but you can have even more. The more overlap you have, the more depth it has. It doesn't really matter the style, but the simple grass trick works well, or little things like fences. Fences work great because you can see through them. Usually I do quite a lot of flowers, but I didn't this time. I only did a couple. Red is complementary to green. You should probably fact check that. I'm pretty sure it is. So that's why it looks nice against the green backdrop. But any color works for flowers really. Just make it really bright, and as long as it's in the foreground, you can't really go wrong. And I decided to add some like bushes to break up these fields. Looking back now, I'm not sure they work. I think I probably could have left these out. I do make them a little bit lighter so they don't stand out so much, but I think looking back now, I think I preferred it without them. But that's about it. If you found this useful, give me a sub and a like, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.